Sir, and good afternoon to all. I am Dr. Nihar Pata, University Librarian of Manipur University, Imphal. Welcome to this webinar on Discovery Service. I'd like to thank our chief guest, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sri Jannal Singh Ji, who has joined us for inaugurating this webinar. There is some problem with our first speakers, Mr. Saji John from EBSCO. So he's not joining us. Instead, we have another speaker from EBSCO, Mr. Ravi Matthew. So we have with us our two speakers, Mr. Ravi Matthew from EBSCO and Mr. Miles Staffers from ex-Libris ProQuest, who both are renowned experts on discovery service, a single search box of library resources. EBSCO and ProQuest are internationally renowned service of discovery service. Both are leading the world in this area. After many conversations with them, both have finally agreed to present their product on one platform through a webinars. And probably it is the first time in India. EDS from EBSCO and Summon Discovery Service from ProQuest already integrated our e-resources on trial basics, which is linked to our Manipur University website. This webinar will allow our users to search all the library resources in one platform and can judge which product is user friendly and is giving best results according to user satisfactions. And on the other hand, it will be easy for the librarians to select the best product irrespective of the cost. So without taking much of your time, uh, over to our Deputy Librarian, Dr. Memory, to welcome our guest and start the session. Memory.
Thank you, sir. A very good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Memory Sawalsam, Deputy Librarian, Manipur University. Thank you for joining today's webinar on the theme Discovery Service, a single gateway to library, organized by Manipur University Library. I wish to take this opportunity to welcome our chief guests, resource persons, participants, and organizers and our coordinator who have joined us. I wish you all a very warm welcome. We are indeed honored to have you here with us today, making our webinar a truly an international one. Now, at the outset, let me share with you a few words regarding today's theme. As stated by Dr. Ranganathan in the 5 Laws of Library Science, Save the Time of the Users. Discovery Service are libraries' attempt to offer a Google-like search experience of library resources. So, a Discovery Service is an online library searching tool that provides an all-in-one interface for finding both the local library items and online searching tool that provides uh, both the local library items and online subscription and open access resources through a single search box, which will be more effective and useful for the users. As the online and print resources are increasing in the university libraries year after year, urging the librarians to seriously think about the search and retrieval system of these documents in a single window search to make simple search on various databases of the library. To overcome these issues, Discovery Service has emerged as the options which has been adopted by the libraries these days. Hence, today's webinar is duly selected, looking into the needs and importance of Discovery Service for the benefits of the students, research scholars, staffs, faculty members of this university. And in this webinar, the resource persons will be highlighting from the evolution of Discovery Service to its direction and application, as well as future trends on how to retrieve the information on it at the click of a button. So I encourage you all to participate actively in the interesting discussion over the next 1.5 hours. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you once again, please be sure to post your questions on the chat box. Your questions will be answered by the resource persons and feedback link will be shared to you at the end of the presentation. and it is mandatory to fill the feedback form for those who need the webinar certificate. I wish successful and fruitful interaction. Now, to commence the webinar, I'd like to welcome today's chief guest, Sri Jarnal Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Manipur University. Sir Sri Jarnal Singh is a retired IS officer and a former Chief Secretary of Manipur as well. As an administrator of our university, Sir has always shown a keen interest in the activities of the library and has been a backbone towards the upliftment and development of the Manipur University Library. So without any further delay, I request our Honorable Chief Guest, Sir Sri Jarnal Singh, to kindly present the inaugural address. Please, sir.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. It's my pleasure that I'm here on this international webinar on discovery services, a single gateway to library. Now, all of us know that libraries are the brains of the universities. They have all e-resources, hard copies of books, journals, which has all the information which is required by students, by faculty members, by research scholars, and by other persons. Now the best, how to get that best information out from the library by any person, whether he is a faculty or he is a research scholar or he is a student of graduate studies. Now how to get correct information and in minimum time, that is the essence. For that purpose, there are tools. This discovery services will help the students and all users of the library services and library resources in finding out what information they want and how to get that information quickly. I will not take much of your time, but I will only say that this type of system or methodology, which will help the students, teachers, and research scholars in getting information, whatever they want in shortest possible time, is the essence of the library and its use. And I wish all the participants and the speakers success. And I congratulate the librarian and the deputy librarian of the Manipur University for doing this wonderful webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the inspiring speech. We are very grateful to you, sir. You took the time out of your busy schedule to address today's webinar. Thank you once again. The webinar for today is for 40 minutes, out of which 30 minutes is for presentation and 10 minutes is for the question and answer session. I'm very pleased and proud to introduce two distinguished speakers, Mr. Robbie Matthew G, Regional Manager of India, EBSCO Information Services, and Mr. Miles Toffer, Senior Solution Architect, ex-Libris Sales, APAC, ProQuest USA. Mr. Robbie Matthew G currently serves as regional speakers, regional manager he served as the regional manager of India EBSCO Information Services. So Mr. Matthew has over 16 years of experience in the information industry. Of this, 12 years has been with EBSCO at various capacities. He's a tech enthusiast and also very keen on the ongoing technological developments with libraries worldwide, focused on library services platform, ERM tools, library analytic modules, research methods, and reproducibility tools, and so on. Before joining EBSCO, Mr. Matthew has worked with Times of India Group as well as for leading consulting firms like QAI India, focused on e-learning initiatives. As part of his job, Mr. Matthew considers it an honor to travel to libraries around his territory across disciplines and help in collection development, technological empowerment, and more so now open source technology. With this, I request Mr. Matthew to give his presentation on the evolution of discovery, path ahead for library users, which I hope will benefit all of us. Over to you, Mr. Matthew.
Right, I believe my audio is perfect and my screen is visible as of now.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, would you
Yes,
confirm? Perfect. Right.
yes.
Right. With that, thank you very much for the introduction and a warm welcome and good afternoon to all the participants of the session today. Hope all of you are doing well, especially during this pandemic situation which we are in. It's in fact our utmost privilege to be a part of the session. We are gladly acknowledge the support from our Honorable Vice Chancellor. I mean, in fact, he mentioned in his speech that libraries are the brains of the institution.
Yes.
And we would say, sir, people like you, leaders like you, are the lifeline of any of the institution. In fact, we would really thank for all the support you are extended to us. And also, I would definitely appreciate the efforts Dr. Nihar sir and ma'am also is working up. The entire library team is working hard. In fact, two international players on a single platform itself is a great initiative. So we thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Robbie Matthew, and I work as the regional manager for EBSCO. Today, for the next 30, 40 minutes, we'll be talking about the evolution of discovery, which is aimed at empowering the libraries. I assume there is some noise possibly at the back end. If we are able to unmute or mute that line, that would be more convenient for the audience.
Yes.
So, what is today's objective for us? Our objective is I'll just touch upon what EBSCO is for people who are possibly not aware of EBSCO from the audience side. Also, a presentation, a live quick preview of the platform, and as Ma mentioned about the question and answers we will be having. So, EBSCO is a 75-year-old organization based in the United States. We work with organizations worldwide. If you see from Harvard University to MITs, or in Indian context from JNUs or to IIMs to IITs, even to the school level. So that is the context in which we operate in. We are one of the topmost rated organizations if we look into the information industry, and we're working with universities, hospitals, schools, college level institutions, public libraries worldwide. And primarily, we focus on content. I mean, EBSCO is known as a content aggregator. But with the invent of technology, like technology has changed everyone's life. So we are focusing more on the technology, especially on the library solution, how we can empower the end users using the technological innovations that is available in today's world. So let me start the presentation by talking about how technology has been changing all of our life. Like I'm sure that all of you would be or somehow familiar with these platforms like e-commerce platforms, cab aggregators, or even food delivery companies. The pattern in the last couple of years have completely changed. I'm sure that there won't be a single person who haven't used WhatsApp today. So that's the way technology have been changing our life. So how is technology changing the libraries? So that is the biggest question which we have, like discovering the concept of how technology can change the library atmosphere. I would start my presentation again by asking this question. How does your faculties or students search an article from JSTOR, Elsewhere, or even Directory of Open Access Journals, your print library catalog at the same time? Like everyone knows that we can go into that platform and search individually, but it consumes a lot of time when you individually search, right? So the question or the answer which we are deriving out today is that how can we search all of this platform at a single point of time? And what happens when you're off campus? I'm sure especially the work from home situation, the pandemic has taught us that it is very important to have an off campus access which is derived. Everyone is familiar with this, like we are all like with multi-screen right now. In fact, there are, especially after the work from home situations, the multi-screen situation, the screen time people are trying to reduce. But this is becoming an essential part of our life. If you go to library or if you are a researcher, you want to find out more references on your article, you may go to Google, you may go to your library resources, you may go to XYZ places. If you see that, it is like screens across. So which platform should I use? So that gives the basic question, why a discovery tool? If you look up in our libraries, we have, like in the way in which the information industry is structured, that there's a disjoint sources of information. We have books, we have journals, we have theses, we have journals, we have publisher packages, we have subject indexes, we have open web, and above all, we have Google as well, right? So it's all scattered across. Now, even most of our users face a lot of issue in finding out when they want to get a relevant result, like unable to find. We have so many issues in finding out relevant articles that is required. So that is where a single search box or search everything in one platform concept comes in. So I'm going to deal a little bit about, because since it's focused on discovery services, I'm sure we have a lot of questions earlier to this webinar coming in on, please talk about how a discovery functions. So a schematic diagram shows that it is going to the search terminology, like whatever keywords you fire in, the entire metadata has been harvested on the EBSCO cloud services, along with the local indexes. When I say local indexes, in our case, Manipur University's faculty publications, our libraries, print holdings, any newspapers or any of that information, we save that and store it along with the metadata from publishers. So in one single search interface, that in the metadata we harvest, you're searching within that. Now, this metadata represents the lakhs of publishers which is outside there, the millions of articles that is available there. I'm not talking about journals alone. Journals, it can be magazines, books, conference papers, audio, video materials, newspapers, case studies. It can be even an image or a video concept. Everything is stored within this particular metadata index. And when a user search for it, you're actually searching within this metadata and you're getting the result. And we will use a link resolver to connect from this place to the full text article that is given in. So that is the very simple logic of how a discovery service functions. Now, what is expected from a discovery service is very simple. When you search, you get every resource that is available in our library together in one single place. I can tell you an example of a print material that is available from our catalog, a print book, or possibly a journal article. You buy it directly from the publisher. Like it may be EPW, it may be JAMA, it may be Nature, it may be Harvard Business Review, any of those articles. You have PubMed or any other open materials that is available, that open access sources, that is also coming in, and the ebooks as well as other materials. So for the end user, every single resource, every single article or artifact is available in one single place. So when you have a discovery platform, you don't need to even go to a second platform to explore further on. It saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of energy in terms of finding out the relevant results that you require. It's very quick. Now, this is the biggest challenge which we have. We have multiple search boxes that we compare, but what is a standard? If you see a single search box, it may not be discovery. For example, people compare with Google a lot, a Google or Google Scholar for that sake. But always we have the question of what it covers, what is the relevancy ranking which is involved in. So what is National Information Standard Organization, or NISO is a standard. They have published an article in the library journal and parameters of discovery evaluation. They have identified around 7 points that, okay, what is a discovery service covers? What is the relevancy ranking? The quality of metadata becomes the most important parameter here, because if you don't have metadata, your relevancy will not work. You may not get the articles that you are requiring. So the subject index, because what happens at PubMed or an EconLit or an InSpec. So when you have those subject indexes, you need to make sure that the subject indexes are also searchable within the discovery platform. So that becomes a primary point. Search results refinement option. If I search something, can I see only Elsevier articles, or can I have Scopus indexed articles? So that is very important for an end user to find out a Scopus Web of Science, available articles, or an impact factor article, or what is the citation available for that article. It's very important. So the options to refine it should be very much required. And at most, the customer support, especially the local support, because what happens is that it's a software technology solution, it's a platform, right? So when you have a platform, you need to make sure that it is customized to that regional level requirements, because what I do in JNU may not be similar to what I do in Manipur University. So when I do it for the scientists and researchers and students at Manipur University, we need to make sure that we customize it and provide the local support and engagement that is required. So that is why NISO have given this guideline based on their publication. And in a discovery space, a major question comes in, okay, web scale discovery versus a federated search engine. I'm not going to, in depth of it because everyone knows about the difference, what is therein. But it's very important to note that federated search engines are like the technologies of the 90s. Now we are moving ahead because technology have changed our life a lot. Now, how we are overcoming the limitations what we have with federation and go beyond that. To tell you, even EBSCO had a federated search engine, but we also realized the limitations that is therein, and we are focusing purely on the web scale discovery service, which provides you an at most comprehensive and better and easy searches mechanism that is therein. So in a nutshell, that's something which is very important to note, that the single search box is not a parameter, but it's the articles that you are looking in, your options to look up as per the standard parameters that is given out. Now, what we do in terms of a relevancy ranking, in a discovery scenario, what we are proud of, or the most important point could be a relevancy ranking. We match any keyword that you're firing in a EBSCO discovery service to the subject headings first, which means if you search something on COVID-19 today, you will not be getting any article other than the articles that are talking about COVID-19. So that we tag every article, that the millions and billions of articles that is there in our metadata, we tag it up clearly to a subject heading. This is a very clear differentiator of EBSCO to any other services that is there, because control vocabularies will make sure that the relevancy algorithm works in a way that we match to this, we match to the title articles or the keywords with an abstract and the full text as well. So that's where we are able to provide with most relevant articles. Now, this is some of the examples, like every scientist is definitely worried about, okay, is this article indexed in Scopus or Web of Science? Or is it articles indexed in the UGC recommended list of journals? So it becomes very important, because in our context, in an Indian context, when we are talking about, we want to make sure that we are looking into the most cited journals or the most impact factor journals, and we would make sure that the articles are given the options based on the scientist requirement. So it's all customized to the requirements of the institution. It may not be required for all institutions. Like you can see the LibGuide, for example. So a LibGuide, when it is given in, whether that is required for our institution to have a guide to our library, we can integrate that option. It's especially for the non-harvested content that's given in. So whatever we are seeing in here, it's primarily focused on a technological enhancement, which is customized to the requirements of the organization. Because we believe that one shoe size will not fit everyone, right? We have to customize it. So we do that heavy customization to make sure that our university's requirements or the expectations of the researchers are met at the department level, at the subject level, to keep into this. Now, this is one example. What we do is the library catalog. The library catalog is integrated such that it is searched together. And if you have a premium services like Koha or other things, obviously Koha can be searched as a front end, and you can have discovery at the back end. So you would have definitely a lot of functionalities that is available, which is there inside this. Now, over a period of time, like in the last 10 years time, we have been there in the discovery space. We have been working on, just to talk about possibly the customers. We have like over, very, very large number of customers worldwide and in India as well. Many of the universities IIMs, IITs, like, across medical or any other, even corporates, they look into the concept of discovery and subscribe to it. Now, the biggest question comes from the end users is, okay, what is the difference you have from the last year? Now, we say that every year there is an improvement. That's why we even, term this session as evolution. We are evolving from what we had 10 years back and from what discovery is today. I'll be showcasing a quick preview of the interface as well. This is something which we are developing very new, which is called a concept map. A concept map is something visually you can filter down the searches. So I'll be showing in the live preview if you really look up. This is something which I have to talk about, the citation tool. Like, you could choose any of the citation options that is available in, and you could export those citation functionalities and use that directly in your interface. You could say the bookmark or the book jackets that's available in. And also, if you see the records that is mentioned in, like library catalog or any of the examples, this is one of the classic case study. Like, okay, we talk about discovery a lot, but then what is the return which we have? How is it helping our university? So this is a classic case which we have seen that over 2000% increase in the usage. So this is exactly what a discovery is aiming at. Comprehensive improvement of our library's resources. There may be many resources that we are looking at which people are unable to access. So what we try to do is we have this comparison given. So how discovery is giving an ROI for the institution. In fact, this is one of the first customers in the space. Like that time, Dr. Ramesh Kaur, who was the librarian at JNU, have given the feedback about, he is comparing it all the products and talking about discovery because of the rich metadata and the access to the full text, as well as the well-defined relevancy ranking. These are the most important things that we focus on in terms of a discovery service. Having said that, we have a mobile app also available for this, which means you can download this mobile app from your Android or iOS store, authenticate it yourself, but we want to make sure that only the authentic users of Manipur University get the access. You authenticate it yourself, and this discovery is available wherever you are. You're working from your home, you're traveling, all the resources of your discovery or your library is available in your handset. So that's the mobile app experience, which is very well personalized. And if you look into search results, like looking into every subscribed local materials and open web resources, like for example, dissertations. There are thousands of dissertations that are freely available online, right? So you can integrate all of that in discovery and search. It's of free materials because open source or open access is getting a lot momentum in our industry right now. Most of the journals are going open access. So all those open materials as well as available within your discovery materials according to the requirements, according to your specifications you provide us. If you tell us that, okay, I want to have everything that is there in the agriculture, we would look into that subject and try to integrate or a respective source like DOAJ or NDLTD or say ePrints from IASC, all of that materials. And we definitely focus on relevancy ranking as well as the local support that's available. So in a nutshell, what most matters in a discovery is the quality of the metadata and how well the search engine, like the natural searching, the artificial intelligence behind the scenes to bring out the search results more as expected by the end user. And authentication, like, okay, if you have an existing technology that is available in our library, we would be able to blend to that technology and provide the links that is available within. So that's about the presentation. I believe I have some time to talk about the live demonstration, after which I'll be taking the questions across. Now, if you see in here, we all go to the Manipur University's website, which is our university's homepage itself. You could see that there is a small link which is provided here. And if you click on it, the pages of Discovery Service for Library Resources is coming up. In fact, both the platforms which is on trial is provided here. So if you come down in here, you can see that the articles and things is mentioned here. The search box is very neat and clean in terms of your access. You want to have only journal articles, you can show only journal articles. You want to search only books, you can do that. Or if you want to search everything, you can type your keyword that is required in. That can be based on the title, author, however you want to search. Or you want to search only the full text or peer-reviewed journals. So you can avoid all the non-peer-reviewed content. You can accordingly do that. So these functionalities are available. So an end user perspective, you are actually do not need to remember what is the URL or what is my password or anything of that sort. You're there on your library page and you can directly click on, which gives you the articles that is available within. Now, the search articles, like for example, you could see that the digital divide, which is mentioned in here. Now, what is this first one? I searched for an article called digital or a keyword called digital divide. First and foremost important thing here is this part. Like if a end user is not sure about what is digital divide, you would have an encyclopedia which is integrated within. Start your research, which means that instead of a Wikipedia or a Google search, which is non-authentic credibility issues and things of that sort, so you have an encyclopedia which is integrated within here. So we don't depend on Wikipedia article for reading that, right? So you can read this article, which is very much in a very concise format, in a very easy language. You will be able to understand the concepts that is there. And I'm sorry for this thing. I'm just logging in again, possibly because of the cookies which is there. Right. So I am going into the platform again and searching for digital divide. And I'll be getting the articles what I was showing you, right? So now the first thing what I was talking about is this one. I am opening up this article, which is telling you about the encyclopedia reference of, so the encyclopedia reference that is mentioned in. So what is this article all about? And a full text will also be available for you. That is, I believe my session got timed out, so that's the reason I'm logging in again. So for you as well, I mean, if you want to go to search.ebscohost.com, you would be getting this platform, which is directly the landing page of Manipur University's EDS. You will be also getting the access from wherever you access, even through your mobile phone or any of the platforms that is mentioned in. So now the importance of this article is very much there. That's why I wanted to showcase in here and explain to you what this article is all about. And also, if I come down further, you will be able to see all those relevant articles that are available within our library. Now, you see this, that it is mentioned here, digital divide, available in my library collection, which means that whatever articles that are appearing in here, it may be from Elsevier, it may be from JSTOR, it may be from Oxford University Press, or an open access article. It's all mentioned in within. Now, you want to mention that, okay, I don't want to see open access. I want to see only my library subscriptions. You can exclude the open access articles that is mentioned in. These articles are from 1962 to 2020. You could change it as you require. And the most relevant and important thing here is, where is this articles coming from? You could see that there are 4,000 plus articles. Academic journals contribute 3,000 plus. There are 192 books available on it. There are 136 reviews, and there are 5 ebooks that is available on Digital Divide. So if you are saying that I want to have only magazines or ebooks, you could accordingly search that. Same way with publications. Okay, I search for it. Where is this coming from? What are the journals which are publishing articles on Digital Divide, which is available in my library? So those information would be given in here. You could see that Information Society is a very good publication that has 195 references and is available in our library. Similarly, all the other journals that is mentioned in here. Now, you may mention that I want to see only Economic and Political Weekly, EPW. So you would restrict your search only to EPW so that you will get articles that are published in EPW and mentioned on Digital Divide. So this is the most easiest way of searching. You are searching all the publishers together in one single place. You could say that Taylor and Francis, 1,400 articles. Springer Nature, around 700 articles together. American Library Association or Oxford University Press. You can talk about Wiley Blackwell. All the publishers that are available within our library is mentioned within this. Now, you want to find out about the geography aspect. The India has around 28 references on Digital Divide. So someone who is doing a research on any of the area, you want to have very specific articles on Indian context, you can search and filter it here. So the India would be a restricted keyword and you would have only the relevant articles that are available from India. It may be from all those publications, all those journals that are available within the context of whatever keywords we have given in. So this is the way in which the search functionalities work in EBSCO Discovery Service. Similarly, if I do any of the engineering or science related areas, say chemical engineering, if I search for, all those articles from chemical engineering from our subscriptions, which is like over 4,55,000. Now, if I remove this filter and say that, okay, I want to see even beyond my library subscriptions. So I will be able to get more content that is available from across all, even outside of our library subscription. But this would be more like our libraries or a Google kind of a search. Most of the time you want to search within your library collection, which includes your catalog, which includes your faculty publications and everything of that sort, which is available within this platform. So that is the first and foremost thing. With the few minutes I have left, so I would also showcase the publication finder of our university. You could see that our library's content is organized in a very organized manner, like a directory of our library, like A to C, ABCD listings. Like if you want to see that, okay, which are the journals which have, say, culture mentioned in it. So these are the journals which you have, culture, and say, I want to know more about history and literature. So this is a journal which I have in my library collection based on this particular area. And it is available from JSTOR. Whatever that publication may be. Now, you want to see what is our library subscription. Alphabetic listing of every resource that is available in our library. It may be American Chemical Society, American Institute of Physics, American Physical Society. So assume that you want to see only a specific article, like, okay, what is available in Oxford University Press? Now you click on that, it will showcase all those journals that are available from Oxford University Press. You clicking on this, it will go to the platform and give you the access of that particular article that you're referring to. So this particular section, we call it as the A to C or the libraries directory, which will provide you with an alphabetic listing, a publisher-wise database listing, as well as the subject-wise listing. Now, you may be from social sciences, you may be from mathematics department, you may be from any of the other areas. So you will be able to search every subscription that is available for you, open access or our library subscription from this particular section. Like in agriculture, we have 78 publications. In education, we have 275. Fine arts, 173. Now you are looking to have, say, sciences area, I have 980 publications inside this. You want to further narrow it down and see that, okay, how many of them are for mathematics? Now, in mathematics, I'm interested in, say, algebra. There are 16 core titles available on algebra. So I clicking on it, I would be getting all those 16 articles that are talking about algebra. It may be one is from Springer, one may be from JSTOR, one may be from other subjects that is mentioned in. So that is the exact result. Like Taylor and Francis have one article, Springer may have one, MathSciNet will have one article. So all those would be available for your subscriptions that is mentioned in. So one last point which I was talking about, the concept map. Like this is the concept map I was mentioning about. Now you could see in here, this is a subject-wise searching. Like I search for, say, Manipur or India as a keyword. Now I want to know about, say, chemical analysis or chemistry as a general keyword. So what I would be doing is a visual search of my subject. What I am being provided with that support is, okay, in chemistry, what I want to do. Okay, I want to do about inorganic chemistry. So let's add to that search. In inorganic chemistry, what are the areas that is mentioned within? Okay, inorganic chemistry, I want to talk about solid state chemistry or photochemistry or chemical oceanography. So if chemical oceanography is my keyword area, I would click on that and add to my search. And I would further be able to narrow my search down to the specific area that is mentioned in. Now, okay, I want to have radiochemistry. I would add radiochemistry as my keyword. Now, this visual searching will help the end user to find out what exactly is the area I am searching in. Once you decide on your keywords in here or subjects in here, you can see the full text results, and results from all those journals would be coming up for you in the platform. So that is exactly what we have been talking to you about, and the trials and the things are already active on our platform. You may please explore that further and let us know how you would want to have this further discussed on. We would be more than happy to have department level engagement or a faculty level engagement that is required in, because there are many things to talk about. I mean, this 40 minutes may not be enough for us to further showcase all the functionalities that is mentioned within EBSCO Discovery Service. So with that, I am ending the session. I know I exceeded 2 minutes of time, but ma'am, let me know if I have any questions to be addressed at this point. You mentioned about last 10 minutes for the question answers. So let me know so that I can plan my session according to that.
Yes, Mr. Matthew. Thank you for the enthralling presentation. For the questions and answers, I've got a few questions. One is if Hemavati be someone like to know if there is there any mechanism to address the
Absolutely.
synonym
Okay.
keywords. For example,
Great. Ma'am,
for example,
sorry, I'm seeing that question. So I thought I would. Thank you so much, ma'am. So to answer that question, it's in fact the most important question, right? How do you address the keyword searching mechanism within EDS? Because when you search for, say, Durax, if you search for Durax, it's actually the chemical formula for hydrox. So how would you tag those mechanisms for synonym keywords? Another example, like ma'am mentioned AIDS and HIV. How would we find out? Or an example may be learning tools. If I search learning tools, nowadays even Zoom is a learning tool. LMS is a learning tool. So what we try to do is we have a subject control vocabulary. We call it as the subject precision searching. If you search any specific keywords that are related to something, so the concept mapping when I was explaining to you, that is exactly what is happening in a subject keyword. Ma'am, I'm sure that you would also agree to me about the, I'm doing a fresh search in terms of, see, HIV. So when I do the search, I'm already getting all the related keywords that are mentioned in for. So this is another great example of how EBSCO Discovery Service is going to change the traditional search mechanisms. Like you can see the examples, HIV is what I have searched for. See, viral shedding, viral latency, DNA virus, electrolens, everything that is mentioned or related to that particular keyword. Even assume if you search for, say, Durax as a keyword or learning tools as a keyword, it ensures that the platform, the artificial intelligence behind the scene work in a way that you would get all the relevant articles that are related to that particular keyword you searched. This is one example I could show, but there are many examples. I'm sure when you search the platform, you would be also getting many examples, and we'll be happy to, talk further on this one.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm seeing there is no other question. I'm sure there may be other
Yeah,
questions which is coming in. We'll be happy to answer those questions even after the session or possibly after the next session as well.
okay, sir. Okay, thank you, Mr. Matthew. Now,
Thank you.
we have our next speaker, Mr. Miles Toffer. He has worked at ProQuest for 10 years and is a senior solution architect for the APSC region. Mr. Miles received his MLIS from University of British Columbia. He is based in Osaka, Japan. I request Mr. Stauffer to deliver his presentation on current trends on discovery services for library. To you, Mr. Stauffer. Sir, your mic is in mute.
There we go. Thank you very much. So again, everybody, thank you very much for inviting me today. I have met some of you in the past. I'm a very big fan of coming to India. I believe I've been there 8 times now, and almost every province that I've been to. So it's been a lot of fun to be able and explore the area. So I have a brief agenda that I will talk about today. Who am I? What is our company? Some of the trends on discovery, getting a bit into our architecture, unique features, and of course, a brief demo. So, who am I? As was mentioned earlier, I did my MLIS in the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. During that time, I met my now wife, who was studying in Vancouver as well. And here we are in Malaysia, having a great time. I moved over to Osaka, Japan to work for ProQuest and get into the technical sales side of the company. And we have our 2 puppy dogs right here. So sorry if you don't like dogs, but we have some puppies. Okay. So a little bit about Ex Libris and who we are as an organization. Now, many of you may know about ProQuest, but Ex Libris is actually a business unit of the company. And Ex Libris is we are a software company. That is all we focus on. ProQuest has their content side. They're on a different path. Ex Libris, we work directly with creating library solutions. So again, we have about 8,000 clients around the world. At this point, it's almost 90 of the top 100 universities in the world use some form of our products. We have multiple data centers across the world as well. On top of that, we have many people using our different suite of products. And so today we're talking about discovery. We have about 3,500 people using discovery around the world. Now, as we are a software company, I really want to point out how important this is. So what this means is that we don't only offer a discovery solution, we offer many different services as well. And all of these services are integrated onto our higher education cloud platform. And regardless of which service you are going to use, today we're going to talk about Summon. All of the same platforms exist. So when you start thinking about this and moving your services into the cloud and wanting to work with hopefully Ex Libris in the future, I just want to point out the fact that we are meeting all of the international standards for data privacy, security, data retention, etc. Of course, we meet our GDPR and our FedRAMP. But again, I just want you to know and to make it clear that the fact is that for Ex Libris today, we're really going to get into it and talk about some library software, specifically discovery. So let's get into it. So the first section, I want to focus a little bit on the end user. and who the end user is. So, as was mentioned earlier in the previous presentation, at Ex Libris, we do have a similar point of view with our discovery. We really want to be able to open some doors with our technology. And what this means is that we want to integrate with many different types of content services. So it could be our publisher data or aggregator data from all over the world. It could be working with your institutional repositories. It could actually be working with your research data as well. We also integrate a lot of open access content, which I will show you a little bit later today. And of course, very importantly, that was talked about in the last session as well, your library catalog information as well. But again, your library subscribes to more data than just journals and books. We have audio-visual content. We have your special collections. And on top of that, we have some discovery enrichment. And by doing this, we really want to have a situation where we have our libraries portal that's going to be a gateway to not only content, but to other services as well. How can we start building on top of this? So again, maybe you want to work with RefWorks or Esploro that works with our research data management system. Or maybe you want to just focus on highlighting your local collections. Maybe you want to integrate directly with our APIs and create your own solutions. Maybe you want to work with something like VUFind to integrate the workflow. Or again, maybe you want to push out some of that data to third-party sources, Google Scholar, PubMed, etc. And for us, when we talk about the libraries and the users and how we want to hopefully make you happy with our products and services, we have built it upon these 4 different pillars. And I'll go through them briefly. When we talk about our index, we have our single unified index. We are working at this point with almost 10,000 content providers around the world. Our data, as you can see by meeting all of these ISO standards, we are managing our own data centers. It's high technology, it's very scalable. I was mentioned earlier talking about the federated searching. With Summon, we prefer to use direct linking. Traditionally, many discovery services like to use open URL searching. We like to use it as well because Ex Libris actually helped invent the open URL linking standard. But the problem with that is that technology at this point is 25 years old. And what we want to do is we want to work with getting direct links from our providers. As you will see today in some examples, we like to index data at the actual record or article level. You're not just managing databases, but you have very specific control. As somebody who lives in Japan, think of it almost like having your bonsai tree and how you can make that work. As you'll see, for example, we want to have a good user experience for our end users. This could be your library staff working with the system, or it can be with your end users trying to find relevant information and making the data very clear. For our other users, which is some of you joining today, the actual library staff, we really want to make the product very simple to administer. We want to make it easy to implement. That's what everybody obviously wants to do. But we really want to make some tweaks to the system right here where the library can get involved in providing resources to the end users. I'll show you a few examples of that later today. And finally, we want to embed directly into the Summon instance. And this is very key. We don't want to leave necessarily the Summon platform. We want the Summon platform to be a starting place. And if the user wants to go to another database to do some more searching, of course we want to do that. However, when we talk about integrations, we want to integrate as many products directly into the system, not having to click out to get some more information. This could be a chat widget. This could be the Web of Science citations being directly integrated, or our syndetics and altmetrics, which you'll see later. And to conclude, what I really want you to get from this first part of our presentation today from Ex Libris is that we have put a lot of time and energy really defining our architecture and how we developed the product. As you will study and as you will work with these products, you will see how important this is, and especially the library staff when you want to add resources by keeping this data, being able to add resources like the exact journal that you want, the exact coverage date, or the fact that you want to work with our direct links. Because again, a direct link has about 95, 97% success rate, whereas OpenURL has a lot of points of failure, about 70, 75% success. Now let's get into the second part of my talk today. Let's kind of get really deep into the technology and the background. So the first part is talking about our users. And this second part is I really want to show you what we are doing behind the scenes and building these relationships. So last year, we worked on a new initiative. That was CDI, our Central Discovery Index. We wanted to make this a future-forward product. We wanted to create a graph database. I'll show you that a little bit later. And on top of that, we really wanted to improve the infrastructure of the products. Faster updates, better quality. We're dealing with so much data, just like how you would have with Google. We really need to be able to scale. And as you can see earlier, when we have our data centers all over the world and meeting all of these international standards, we are taking it very seriously how we are going to be able to grow and quickly grow on top of that. And lastly, we really want to focus on new ways to define how users can look for information, similar to what you saw a bit earlier. We just have a slightly different interpretation on how this can be played out. So let's take this example. We have this title, Cocoa and Chocolate Flavonoids. Flavonoids like the flavor process. So we have this article, but as you can see, we have many different data points that came to be in order to process this. So for some of you who might work in like archives, etc., we really want to derive some context. How can we contextually explain all of the history of this? What are the topics? Is this related to other articles? Where's the research data? How can we look at this and actually get to the research data of this? Or again, who's citing it and who's it being cited by? So again, we really have all these different relationships and we want to be able to reflect that in our discovery service. Now, what I'm going to show you today is what already exists. And what we have done, I want to show you to maybe start thinking about new ways on how we can start leveraging this technology. Of course, we are already working on that, but I just want you to start thinking about that. So we have our content, we have your library's data, it's all within our one index. We are passing that data through the graph database. And of course, all of this is searchable in the Summon Unified Index. Now that we have created our graph database, we want to be able to have new ways and how we can start matching this data. This would be considered like, our machine learning. How can we start bringing this data in? And how can we start defining and developing these relationships? How can I get from subjects to citations to articles? Or how can I get from articles to reviews? Start mapping all of this data together. And currently, what we have done is we've developed 3 different types of relationships that are available within our Summon Discovery service. The first one is a formal relationship. We know this to be true. We have a book and we have a book review or a book chapter. Very simple. Within the book, there's book chapters. How can we navigate to this? On the second one, we have our informal relations. This is similar to what you might have seen with like Amazon. Users who looked at this article also looked at these articles as well. So this is our user behavior through here. And again, this is all anonymous, encrypted, etc. through here. The third one, which I find very interesting, is, and actually my favorite, to be honest, is our curated relationships. So this helps us start to navigate through these different articles. So for example, like some of you, especially you who are doing their doctorate or finished your doctorate, I remember doing my graduate work or postgraduate work as well. One of the first things I might do is I might skim down to the references at the bottom of an article or go to the citations in the back of the book. I really want to know what sources were being cited and from what publications in there. Because again, it might not necessarily make the article good in which I'm reading right now, but I had a broad knowledge of what I was working with, and I wanted to see how the relationships were being defined. And this is what we want to show you today. So again, we have our single search box, which you'll see in our demo. We are taken to our results list, and then within the results, so without leaving the system, we want to be able to enhance our discovery experience by bringing these resources through. And I'll show you some different examples of that today in the demonstration. Now, there are so many features that I would love to show you, and I didn't have time, but I've already sent a PDF copy of my presentation to Pradeep, and he will share it with the staff, as well as anybody who has attended this meeting. You will also see my email at the end, and of course, you can email me with any questions, and I'm more than happy to. Because again, there's so many features I want to show you, I just can't show you all of them today. Finally, what we really want to be able to talk about is our relevancy ranking. We are also very passionate about how we do our relevancy ranking. And we take our algorithm into two different silos. We have our dynamic ranking, and this could be like, terms, the field weighting. For example, title is more important necessarily than maybe a copyright statement, for example. And we have our static ranking. Scholarly journals have more value than newspaper articles, unless the user defines that. We know this to be true. And so what we do through our Summon Search is we bring these two ranking systems together. We bring out our algorithm, and that is how we define our results. So we're taking it on many different areas. And if you would like, we can send you the link. We go in great detail on how this actually works. So a few more screenshots that I wanted to show you before we get into our demo. As you saw earlier, we have a slightly different interpretation on how we would like to work with our design. The library, if they choose to, can create an app. But what we like to focus on is actually having a responsive design. So regardless of your user experience and where you're using Summon, every single feature you see on this screen is accessible in every single environment through here. One of my favorite ways is how we can expand our search through here, because for many of the people that I'm talking to today, you already know how to search. Many of you have master's degrees or even doctorates within this field. However, we really want to make it possible for our end users to be able to get some more information, which is what I'll show you later today. We also really want to be able to define how we can refine our data. So again, we have different interpretations on how we think the best use of the refinement should go. So one of our favorite ones is scholarly and peer-reviewed. And speaking of like a technological partner, this data comes directly from Ulrich's Web. Ulrich's Web is the international standard for defining what is scholarly and or peer-reviewed. This data is brought into the system every day through here. Or again, maybe we want to do a database, or what we have seen become very popular in the present times is actually an author. If there's an author that you might want to sort on, maybe of a book, for example. We also want to be able to explore these different resources. And I'll show you this a bit in the demo today. For example, here are alt metrics. How often is this information being used in social media? Highlighting here, like our original research, we call this our glanceability. We don't want you to have to click into a record. We want you to get as much information as possible on the first screen. And again, talking about our research support tools. We also want to make it possible to integrate other types of services. So for example, WhatsApp can be integrated into here. We support LibChat, other services as well. We also want to make it possible for the library to define what they are seeing. And this will help our end users increase their discovery through here. So when the library can actually get involved on making some information more relevant through here. So this is the finishing of my presentation. As you will see right here, I have put some examples that are publicly available for you to view. I will also be showing some of these in the demo today. If there's any questions, please let me know. If not, I will get directly into my demo process. Okay, so to start, as was mentioned earlier, right here, we have also put our search box in. So what I will show you right here is, again, we can go and do a search. I'm going to go directly through and bring back our set of results. As you can see, it is a very quick set of search results brought through here. We're here. Okay. Now, as you will see, we do have some examples from Wikipedia on here. However, as you will see later on in the demonstration, we have many other services that we work with as well. We work with Credo, Encyclopedia Britannica. We actually work with Japan Knowledge. We actually work with Wikipedia that's harvested in different languages as well. And we can also see some related topics. Now, obviously, in the center of our screen, what we have right here are our results. Now, as I was mentioning earlier, we really want to have a high level of glanceability through here. So we can see the fact that it's peer-reviewed. We can see the fact that it is open access through here. And as you can see, we can actually limit to just online resources, which is what we have today. But of course, we have our scholarly and peer-reviewed. We can actually separate these out because they are different resources right here. As you can see, on the left-hand side, we can go by our databases, our author, and a new feature that we have introduced right here is our new records. So you can see on this search, 7 new records have been put in this week through here. Now, when we're on our screen right here, you'll see some information. We get some preview, we get some data right here, because again, we don't necessarily want to go into a new screen yet. We want to keep it as simple as possible. We don't want to click in. Save the students time by working through this resource. Okay. And again, going through right here, and of course, like our infinite scroll right here. One thing that you will see is we can click right here and go directly to the resource. As you can see right here, again, we're using a direct link to archive.org. But this is a well-requested feature right here. They actually want a direct link to the PDF. And as you can see right here, just going directly into this and making this available, just like here. So again, we want to provide the users with different options to this. And again, we're taking them out and going into the resource. Now, let's go and do another search right here. So my undergraduate was archaeology, and I really like anthropology as a discipline. So when we look at our anthropology right here, we can see this changing. We are getting suggestions. So we can see anthropology of art, anthropology of consciousness, and below that, we can see some of these subtopics as well. Let's just keep it at this high level right here first. Let's go directly into a search right here. So, as you can see, we are getting our resources through here. And again, we can bring them down. You'll also notice a few differences on this screen. As you can see right here, we can start seeing our related articles. And so what we're trying to show you here, remember, is that other user behavior, like this. So we can see this user behavior right here. So we want to show this relationship and making it available. Now let's just go through here and let's click again our full text and scholarly and peer reviewed. Let's do a few more examples right here. Let's get into some of the fun stuff. This is probably the most powerful feature I have seen. First of all, we can see that we have right here our glanceability. We know this is primary. This is original research. This is a primary source. We don't have to go into the resource to get it. Find out. Now, one thing I want to show you right here is our cites and cited by. When I click into this, I can see some citations. When I go cited by, I can see some other citations as well and moving through this. So let me show you another example in a minute and go a little bit deeper into this process. We can also view the path right here, but I'll get into that in another minute. One of the questions I was asked last time, so I'm sorry, I'll show it right here as well, I'll answer it as well. Is that correct? Synonyms are very important on how we want to make this possible. So again, I did genetic diversity. And again, of course, the synonym is saying, do you only want, we're including automatically genetic variation right here. Okay. Now, as you will see as well, we can see our original research through here. We can see our links to the PDF. We can see our related articles through here as well. So we're trying to keep it very tight. You haven't even had to click out to anything yet. There's a lot of information going through here. So let's just go check here. Let's see our citations in here. So again, we can see our citations. So we can see all 73 citations that are directly within this article. This is, again, a highly cited article. Now, if I go back out to my search right here, I can see other users who are citing this article as well. Where is this in other parts of our citations? See here, 17 other people have cited this article here. Let's just go through a few more. My time's almost up. Got 5 more minutes. Okay. One thing that we can see right here is the automatic Web of Science integration. And again, as you have Web of Science, and we'll get your information a little bit later, before we finish up your implementation for this resource, we can see automatically the citations here. You'll see at the bottom of the screen, it will take the user directly to Web of Science if you would like, through here. Not a problem at all. You'll see on the right-hand side, we've added a little bit more information. And to conclude that, let me show you another example. So my colleague really likes these cute little animals called tapirs. But again, we're talking about on our right-hand side, again, how the library can start using this space to give a voice, to give some information. So it could be, how can you request an article through interlibrary loan? Or if you need virtual help with something, right here. And this requires no custom coding. It directly integrates into this. All we've done on the back end is just add an image and some text and a link. If you would like to integrate other levels of products, we can do that. But all of this is just outside of the box. You can see from here, we have the World Book, not Wikipedia in this example. So another source, and how we're bringing this data here. Let me show you two more examples really quickly. So this is another feature that has been turned on. I simply did a search of anthropology right here. And what has happened is I got my list of results, of course, but again, I am also getting database recommendations. So as we were talking about earlier, we really want Summon to be the starting point of your discovery right here. And so we are saying to the user, many of the resources that are in these set of results, taking like the first 100, 200 results, if you want more information, we suggest you go to these other resources right here. That's why we're just recommending it. Summon has a set of results, but we just want you to go again. If you want to do some more research, we might suggest these databases as well. So again, we want to provide as many different points of contact to be able to get the user to their resources. Now, finally, what I'll show you today, with a limited amount of time, 3 more minutes, is that, of course, we can use the API. That's not a problem. For Columbia University, they have decided to use the API to bring back resources. And they have decided to use a bento box. One thing I really like a lot is they brought in these other sources that aren't even in Summon, like geodata or even their library's website. And so again, I wanted to show you the highlight on what can be done within the system, but the fact that we also have a fully functional API that you can integrate into your library website if you would like. It's really just up to you and what you want to do with your system. So for today, that is the end of my presentation and demo. As you saw earlier, we will send out a copy of the PDF. And on top of that, if you have any questions, please reach out to my colleague, Pratap Das, and he is our regional sales manager within India. And the reason why is he and I can work through your questions to kind of give you some responses in a cleaner, more articulate format. But Pratap is our sales manager within India. Now, Miss, I did see one question earlier, and I'm more than happy to answer that now if you would like me to.
Okay.
Okay.
We have 2 questions.
Thank you. So the first question being is, what is the difference between Ex Libris and Primo? So, Primo and Summon, my apologies. So what has happened is that I came from the Summon side, and Summon was developed by Serial Solutions. A few years ago, ProQuest bought Ex Libris, and their discovery product was Primo. Primo and Summon are 2 different discovery products that have 2 different uses within the library market. For Summon, that is what we suggest for our go-to market for just doing plain discovery. For Primo, we suggest that users use this discovery service if they want to integrate with Alma. And Alma is our library services platform. Now, of course, Alma works with both Primo and Summon, but we just have a slight preference to doing that with ALMA because they were built directly hand in hand. Now, the second, Mom, is it okay if I go to the second question? Okay. The second question is, what is ALMA? ALMA is our library services platform. ALMA is the ILS, or we call it the LSP, Library Services Platform, that integrates your print, electronic, and digital resources within one library system. So for example, ALMA supports many different metadata schemas. In ALMA, you can catalog in Dublin Core. You can catalog in BibFrame. You can catalog in Chinese Mark, Korean Mark, Mark 21, Unimark, electronic theses and dissertations, all different types of metadata schemas. And what it does is the system manages your library's physical holdings, like your print data that you want to circulate. It manages your digital data that you would have for an institutional repository. And on top of that, it also manages these electronic resources and making them available within a discovery service right here. So again, it is a very powerful system for there. If you have any questions about that in more detail, please contact Pratap, and I'd be more than happy to show you a more detailed or an actual demo of that resource for you.
Hemavati also wants to know is there any open source discovery tool which can compete with EBSCO or Ex Libris?
Okay, very good question. There are open source discovery tools. However, those require a lot of maintenance, Typically, those are based on federated searching because the scale of all the data that has to be ingested right here, even let's just show Manipur really quickly. So we set this up for your trial. Just for here, we have 55 million records. So that means we are working with a vendor to get this metadata every single day. There's going to be new metadata for like newspapers, journal articles. It has to be cleaned up. It has to be in one standard, like an XML format that has to be ingested on a regular basis. So yeah, it's not going to be possible for that to happen at this level. It's mostly going to be federated searching utilities, which again, the federated searching technology is Z3950, and that technology is about 40 to 50 years old. So I wouldn't even suggest it either. Okay. Mom, may I go to the next question?
Yes. Obidullah Khan has asked how direct linking IETL works.
Okay. This is one of my favorite pieces right here. So what this does is that we are getting the data directly from the publisher. And so what this means is that this article is from PLOS Genetics. This article might be in different platforms. So for example, EBSCO may have this platform, ProQuest, or again, Science Direct. We have gotten, or we are working to try to get as many direct links as possible. So if your subscription is for ProQuest, it will go directly to ProQuest. If it's to Science Direct, it would get the direct link going from them. But basically, when we click on here, we have our link right here, and it's the same with our PDF right here. We are getting this direct link from the directory of Open Access Journal. So that means every single day, they are sending us new data with new direct links right here. And that's the same if we were to go to the PDF as well. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, one last question.
Detail. Yeah. Sorry, Miss.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Certain Narayan Sharma wants us if guest access gets to know EBSCO and ProQuest services.
So these right here, the link right here, all of this site is open. And so anybody can feel free to take a search at this site. In the future, ManiPer will put in their authentication system, like Easy Proxy, you have your own authentication service. So when a user might click out to here, they will actually click out and they'd have to be authenticated to that service. But again, anybody is open to go to this site or this site here. All of the sites that I sent you are completely open. And by default, Summon is an open service. It's up to the library to determine if they would like to hide or not make that service available. Lokendro, I hope that answered your question. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer, for the engrossing presentation. Now, after these two excellent presentations from both the speakers, the webinar has come to an end. Now, I request our organizer and coordinator, Dr. Nihatya Patra, University Librarian, Manipur University, to give the word of thanks. Thank you. To you, sir.
Thank you, Memory. So it's time to propose for the vote of thanks. I consider this an extremely beautiful webinar for library users and librarians. I like to take an opportunity on record to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mr. Janal Singh Ji, for always giving a platform and all possible support to the Library of Manipur University in organizing such webinars. So thank you so much, sir, for all your support and help. I am deeply presented this relevant topic for this pandemic situation and beautifully explained. Thank you, Mr. Robbie and Mr. Miles, for the wonderful presentations. For our users to save their time to search for library resources in various way. So thank you, Mr. Pradeep from ProQuest and Mr. Ravi from EBSCO for your help and coordinations. I also extend my thanks to our registrar, Professor Chand Babu, for his cooperation and helps always. Thanks to my team, Dr. Memory, Deputy Librarians, Mr. Lokendar Singh, Assistant Librarian, who cooperated with me and was involved in various works in organizing this successful webinars. Thank you, Dr. Memory, for nicely welcoming the guest and coordinating everything properly and systematically. Thank you all the participants for attending this webinar. So thank you so much. And once again, thanks the entire EBSCO and ProQuest team for enlightening us. Have a good ahead. Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir.